Thank you very much for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and thank you for taking the time to hit like on these videos so that they could spread further. I appreciate that. I want to get into two big weather extremes, one heavy rain, the other extreme drought, and that includes the dust. I want to look at the Panama Canal, and I want to get to a few long-term forecasts. If you're in Belize, for example, if you're in Trinidad and Tobago, for example, I want to look at the long-term rain outlook. I'm going to show you that over the next 10 days because, boy, do we need to get some rain. But this area here, that's where most of the action is going to be the next couple days as far as the rain is concerned. Still keeping an eye out for some isolated flooding possible in the northeastern Caribbean. So let me get right to it. Don't want to ever waste your time. Here's Costa Rica. You get toward Panama. Right through here, Costa Rica and Panama, that rain chance is going to be very high the next few days. Over just the next 3 days, look at that. Right on the edge of eastern Costa Rica into western Panama, some of the black and red showing up. That means a 3-day rain total over 150 millimeters or over 6 inches of rain once we hit the higher terrain. That is going to lead to some increased runoff, mudslides of potential, and watching the rivers. Very heavy rain here. This is tied into the tropics. Eventually, we could see something develop on the eastern Pacific side, and then down the road later this month or early into June, something could develop right about here because of all this moisture around. San Andres over toward Providencia, most of that rain is down just to the south. Now, that ties into the Panama Canal. Levels are getting much better. This is the outlook from right now all the way into July, and you can see everything going up. This is feet over here, 80.5 feet, but by July will be over 82 feet. So that change really coming into the Panama Canal, just what was needed. Now, on the flip side of this, really weather extremes going on. We have the dust. Here's the Gulf of Mexico, Florida, Cuba, Jamaica, and right here, this red shading, not red shading, this yellow shading, even some of the orange that's getting in here, that is the thick dust, and that blue shading, some of that dust getting near Jamaica, stretching back toward Honduras. So moving across, keep me posted in the comments on what you have. This dust, for many of us, is going to stick around into the weekend. Now, let me get to the long term as promised. Here's a 10-day rain total, and this is not good news. Again, I do the weather. I try to do the best I can for you, and a lot of times it's not great news. It's hurricanes, it's drought, and in this case, we need the rain this time of year, especially as we heat up. And as we get into Belize and northern sections of Honduras, the next 10 days, almost nothing, and that's really heartbreaking for some of us. Of course, you see here we may catch a stray shower. That would be it, primarily dry. You have to get off toward the west, toward Guatemala and El Salvador, where we'll see a better chance of some rain. That's the 10-day outlook in Belize and Honduras. And here's another sample in Trinidad and Tobago. And I know many other spots, I'm trying to keep an eye on everyone island by island. I know other spots need the rain too, but you get here, this is a sampling, and you see the blue shading in purple, and you say, hey, that means we're going to get some rain, and that would be 25 millimeters to 50 millimeters of rain, or 1 to 2 inches of rain. But that's spotty in nature, and that's over the next 10 days, which means that's really next to nothing. Aside from a passing shower, we're not going to have much at all. More of it's going to be down to the south toward Guyana and Suriname. We need to almost get into the hurricane season where some of that moisture, the convergence zone will lift into our way, but unfortunately the next 10 days mainly on the dry side. So you can see that I'm watching this very carefully, both weather extremes, some of the rain and some of the very dry conditions. There's the rain, Costa Rica and Panama, spotty showers and storms, Jamaica, Haiti, the DR, Puerto Rico, watching over towards St. Croix, keeping an eye on some areas because if we happen to get a thunderstorm, that could lead to some flooding. Mainly dry in the ABC Islands, watching the dust, and you get toward Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The rain chance is just not high. Venezuela and Colombia, that's where we have more of it, stretching back toward Costa Rica and Panama. This is tomorrow, same outlook, Hispaniola, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, hit or miss shower storm. And then as we get into the weekend on Saturday, may catch a stray shower anywhere from Trinidad all the way up through Anguilla or Antigua and Barbuda, but it's not much. But there's that heavier rain that I'm watching and that chance of some flooding. Bahamas, Florida, mainly dry the next couple days and super hot weather, near record heat. We've got some big weather that's been rolling back toward parts of northern Georgia and northern Alabama. That's staying to the north, so that allows that heat to build. Cuba as well, very hot conditions with us. We get out here and you can see a lot more action. This is what I was talking about. Here's Guatemala, El Salvador, down to the south, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. Over here, we're going to see this surge of moisture moving in, and still next week, it does look like there is the possibility of some sort of tropical development in the eastern Pacific, and the hurricane season starts in the eastern Pacific on May 15th, so just days away from that. Now, here's that severe weather potential southeast U.S. Here's the heavier rain parts of Colombia over toward Venezuela, again south of Trinidad and Tobago. So that is today on the big picture. Gulf of Mexico, generally quiet conditions, and we are just baking this time of year. If you are dry, you are hot, and that just dries things out further. Thinking of agriculture, just trying to get water, the cisterns, trying to fill some of those up as we work our way into Friday. That pattern, it holds. There'll be some storms approaching Florida and the Bahamas, leftover storms in the southeast. Some of those could be strong, and then that really pushes away, and then we'll watch over toward Texas and parts of Mexico for a next chance of rain as we work our way into Saturday. Now, as we work up here, these systems roll in and still unsettled. Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, New England, Atlantic region of Canada, scattered showers. Not as many today in Newfoundland, mainly back toward New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, better chance of rain. There's that surge of moisture tomorrow moving toward New York and Pennsylvania, trying to get into New England, and still a few showers around. You see there in the extreme southern areas, and then we work our way into Saturday, and there's that next surge of moisture coming out of the Mid-Atlantic, New England. Newfoundland is still mainly dry. Most of it will be just to the south as we work our way into our Saturday. So, dusty conditions out there. Starting to see some of the dust now in Jamaica. We'll get a little bit more tomorrow. Let me know what you're getting. 30 to 40% chance of isolated showers and storms. Cayman Islands, rain chance minimal, 10 to 20%. Trinidad and Tobago, it's going to be 20% or less, at least over the next week or so. Hopefully down the road we'll get that change. I'm going to dive into that in some upcoming videos. Barbados, 20% chance of a shower with us, 20% chance St. Lucia tomorrow and Saturday. And you see the rain chance on the small side. Grenada, not much more than a little passing shower. The dust around St. Vincent of the Grenadines, and still pretty dusty as we work our way from Martinique. We've had some of the dust in Dominica. Dominica today, there's not a lot of rain around, but there's a slightly better chance that at least we could get a passing shower. 30% chance the next couple days in Guadeloupe, and holding on to that 30% chance Antigua and Barbuda. St. Kitts, Nevis, and Montserrat, also that 30% chance, and a 30 to 40% chance Anguilla and St. Bart's. 30 to 40% chance St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. Most of the dust is down to the south. Puerto Rico, we are still active. I was highlighting that in yesterday's video, watching out for areas of flooding. And if we get some storms popping up in the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, we could still see some isolated areas of flooding. Dominican Republic, scattered storms. Also that overall flood threat staying with us. Isolated shower storm in Haiti, a 30% chance. Mainly dry and very hot across the Bahamas. Mainly dry. Turks and Caicos, rain chance stays limited. Belize, again, way too dry, way too hot. Keep me posted on your conditions that you have. Put your location too, so I could get a handle on that. Aruba and Curacao and Bonaire, it would be a very limited chance of rain the next few days. Also watching that surge of dust around. Guyana, it is going to pick up in some spots tomorrow and Saturday, and also picking up as we get into Suriname. Rain chance about 20% in Cuba. It would be an isolated, generally afternoon and evening storm in Cuba. Costa Rica and Panama, there's that high rain chance. I was talking about that extreme with a lot of rain, but you get to the north in Honduras, we are mainly dry over toward Roatan. Yucatan and Mexico, including Cozumel. We are watching Cancun. We are watching the dry and generally hot conditions. 30 to 40% chance in northern Venezuela, and we could get a few scattered showers with the tail end of a front in Bermuda for today. So plenty to track, watching areas of flooding, Costa Rica, Panama, and keeping an eye on some other spots that may flood that we had the flooding before. If we do get some rain today, could see some isolated flooding, and watching the drought conditions, those weather extremes. Dust continues into the weekend, and monitoring the eastern Pacific for any signs of development as we work our way into next week. And we've had some earthquakes around over the last week. Cayman Islands, Jamaica, near Antigua, Barbuda. You may have felt it over toward St. Kitts and Nevis yesterday. So I'll monitor that through the day. Thank you for liking these videos, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.